All right, Caroline.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
Welcome to Fixing the Nation. Let's fix the conversation here about rallying and about just entry into rallying and what rallying is all about. But before we do that, Janoma Coates has got the quotes.
In the building.
You've seen Janoma Coates with her quotes. So she'll give you, she'll give us a quote. But before that, she'll tell us the person who has said it, give us a couple of hints, and ask us who said it. We see if we can get it. We already have gotten it, so it's your turn.
It's your turn to get it. Right. An organization called Usikimye really came to the fore the last few years because they deal a lot with addressing gender-based violence. They rescue a lot of women, children, and also men. A few men have actually managed to get access to justice through Usikimye. The founder of Usikimye, who also led the first major end femicide march in January of 2024, said this: silence is not an option when it comes to domestic violence. Who said that?
Hey.
Hey.
Any guesses?
It's okay.
5 liters of fuel, ukipata.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was about to say it. That's it. She's rev full time.
Nimekusaidia kugurumisha gari.
I was
going to say for a rally driver, 5 liters.
Nimesaidia kugurumisha gari.
What more do you want?
Hata yezi toka parking.
But it was said by Njeri Migwi. She's an activist and the founder of Usikimye and one of the most prominent voices, I would say, of our time right now from Kenya. She's Kenyan, I should have mentioned that. Especially in a month like this, we'll probably hear more from her and many others. Hapo kwa fuel. That was hilarious.
Hakupata, imeenda.
Imeenda.
Sawa tu. 5 liters, that's why sikufikiria sana.
I know.
There's no sufficient motivation. At you are a rally driver. What does that mean?
Honestly.
I know.
Ati? No. Ati, you're a rally driver. He's like shook.
You know, I'm looking at her and I'm thinking, Latifa comes to tell me.
Yeah.
Dad,
Do you get this response and reaction a lot?
Like, that's what I was going to say. I get that a lot from people, but the ones who have walked this journey with me, I have gotten used to it now. So what is rally driving? It's like what it is, what you know, safari rally. Those days when we used to go to KICC, drive fast, our parents used to take us. And I started this journey in 2008 with, we partnered with my husband. And I was the driver, he was the navigator. The kids were small. We have 2 daughters. I'll get to that later. So we took them everywhere we went. We started with the 4x4 events. They used to be held in Athi River.
Akina Rhino Charge, amazing gani?
No, sio Rhino Charge. The 4x4 ilikuwa ya Rob College. It's for the Rob College event.
Yes.
We did that for like 2 years. Then it became too slow. We decided it's too slow. Can we get something faster? So then we transitioned on to what we call the cross country now, the raid events. They were a bit faster, but we were still not passing 60, 80. We did that again for like
60 kph. And you're competing in a speed race. Sure.
The roads, when you see the roads, those were those days.
Oh, and
if you see the roads, then,
off-road,
and it's off-road.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And you're using a 4x4 car.
I get it.
Higher. So you do 60, 80, 100, then it's still not too fast for us. So we built a Toyota Levin. We started building it in 2010. 2012, around 2012 is when I started driving it. I got into the 2-wheel drive category. So he said, you know what, I'm going to be your manager. Let's get somebody else, a lady, to navigate. I was like, oh, okay, we're getting ladies now. So I got a lady. I started off with Linetta Yuko. In the Levin, we did that for like 3 years. 2-wheel drive category, we call that the 2-wheel drive category. We took part a bit, won a bit of events, finished events, because actually the most important thing in a rally is to finish. We finished. From there, I moved on to Koi Koi. She's called Koi Koi. She became a navigator. It's a whole ladies thing here. It's a ladies month. It's a whole ladies thing here. So Koi Koi became my navigator, still in the Levin. We moved on to, took a break again until around about 2018, 2019, just around about before COVID. Then after the COVID is when we came to the 4-wheel drive category. Now, before we came to the 4-wheel drive category, now we came into the picture with my daughter in 2022. So that's when we got into the WRC events, which is coming up in March in a couple of days. And believe me or not, she kicked me out of the driver's seat.
I thought she was navigating. Did she start navigating and then she kicked you out of the driver's seat?
She did one navigation,
Okay.
the Lioness event.
Then she was just too impatient with you. Mom, left. Mom,
No, I know.
let me drive.
Yeah.
She was nice.
Left
She was nice because she knew
leading.
where she was going back to.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, no, from there we saw youth. She's young. She's a lady. She'd already started with her autocross events in a Magic Bag. So we felt confident enough to let her into a car and drive. And she was driving us a bit on the road. She got in 18, got in her license and everything. So I said, okay, transition onto the driver's seat. Yes, and that's how she came. And she did her first event in 2023. We actually finished in position 10.
Right.
We did it in 2024. We finished position 7.
Right.
So this year we're hoping to make it better. So
10,
she gets
7.
Well done.
Win.
Yeah.
Yo.
10-7 win.
Win.
10-7
right?
win.
Thank you.
I like that trajectory.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Amen.
Is it just, what's the competence? Because we were saying earlier, if I love speed, is it enough? I'm sure there's so much that goes into being a good navigator and a good rally driver. What does that entail? Coordination, competence?
I'm
asking for myself. By
asking for yourself.
Yeah.
Rally driving is not the same as road driving. It's different. It's different. There's a lot of concentration in a rally car. Yes, you'll have your speed on the road car, but of course, legally. But when you get now on the road, in the rally car, there's a certain language that we use in a rally car. There's certain concepts that you need to learn to navigate that car, navigate in terms of driving. I went to a rally school, Abu City Rally School. That's where I started, and that's why now you start understanding the language. We don't say left. That you're saying that left. You say okay, you say left, but there's medium left. They're actually numbered. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now what we call a hairpin, what you're calling earlier hairpin. There's a slow right. There's a slow left. There's a medium right. There's a hairpin and all that. But when you call a note, when you're driving, when it's called out to you, you know how to take it, whether you're going to come at 140, or whether you're going to come at 160, or whether you're going to come at 20, like literally gear all the way down to 20 to be able to take a hairpin, because a hairpin is a literal U-turn, right? So you have to understand that language, and you have to be on a high alert, because if you're not, you might get into the trees like I did.
An instruction.
Yes.
Like
when I watch,
she said, yeah, she just
like
said
I
she
did.
got in the trees.
like you did.
But I'm sure it's part of the learning experience.
Yes, it is. And it was my first accident in Voi. We did that in 2006, around about, not 2006, 2016. I actually went into a tree.
At what speed?
I was at 140.
Oh.
And before that, you do recce, right? You do recce and yes.
On the same road.
On the same road.
Okay.
The day before, you do recce, master it, how it is, the terrain and everything, and what your navigator is going to read out to you. The day we were doing recce, you do it on a standard road car. It had chicanes. Chicanes it's a straight stretch. You kind of break it because you may be too fast. So they break it a bit of cornering here. But in a rally car, it becomes a straight road. So I remember telling Koikoi, my navigator, those chicanes you're reading, imagine I can't see them.
What?
Big mistake. 5 kilometers into the stage. I'm at 140. Then she tells me, double caution. When you're ready from a caution, double caution to a triple caution, you know that one you have to be really careful. She had for me double caution, medium right. I didn't hear. I didn't hear the second time. She actually tapped me. Hey,
Madam.
double caution, man. What you need to slow down. The time it hit me, I was like 500 meters. I came, mistake again. And these are things you learn, you get to learn as you go. I took the corner, but I slammed on the brakes. I went straight smack in the middle into a tree. If you go into my Facebook page, there's somewhere, you see me standing next to the car, like very proud.
Yeah.
But I was told that now, with that, there's Frank Tundo, who was training us for a bit before. He told me, when you get into a rally car, the first 10 kilometers, just do your 60, 70 kph. Let the adrenaline go down. Because it's like doing an exam. When you've been flagged off, it's like doing an exam. You're sitting for an exam, and then you're told, okay, start. You know how you have those butterflies in your stomach? Same things, and it always happens.
It doesn't matter how
whether
experienced you are.
100 years or whatever, it always happens. So that adrenaline needs to go down. And I actually realized he's right, because a couple of rallies after, when I do that, I'm okay. So that's what I'm training now my daughter to do the same.
Okay.
Like, chill down. Calm down. Just start slow, then let's pick up speed.
Yes.
The rally scene has been, we've loved, I think, rally as a nation, but at some point we kind of lost. I don't know if they lost, I don't know who lost it, but yes, rally left us, came back after a very long hiatus. Within that break, would you say we lost like significant momentum as far as developing rally talent, and especially female rally talent? Because we've seen, at least, we've seen you, we've seen Maxine, but it still feels like a drop,
Yeah, we did. We lost a bit, because before we lost the rally, the World Rally Championship in Kenya, we used to be like 20 ladies, both drivers and navigators. In fact, we used to sit at events and you're 60 in a lineup, and we used to think, when will I start? We used to see Flash Tundo start an event. In Eldoret, I remember making this comment. He'll start a section, finish, and find you still seated there.
And you're still waiting to be flagged off.
Yeah, you're still waiting to be flagged off. That's how big it used to be before.
That's big.
Now, when it broke off, we went down into the little local events and everything, but people parked their cars. And it lost momentum, as you say.
Yeah.
So, but when it came back, now we're trying to bring back the people slowly back to the rally scene. And they're coming up. They're coming up because we have a couple of ladies who have gone now into autocross. Autocross is a short circuit event. Short circuits you do, which is time-based. And we're Stephanie, there's Tina, there's me, there's Maxine, there's, who else is there? Jennifer, there's Pauline Shegu. So we take part in those events, and there's also what we call a rally cross. So autocross is when we have circuits where you race alone against your time. We have 2 circuits in Kasarani, which is awesome. You guys need to come for that one. It's lovely, where we race now against each other, but still time-based. Then there's rally cross, where you put like 5, depending on how many ladies are in the team. You put us all in the lineup, then we all take off. It's fantastic. You guys are need to wait for the next one.
Wow.
At the same time, it's awesome.
Wow. Almost hinting to something Mariam picked up on, which is the participation of women. How have you seen it evolve? What barriers are still there? And even just your experience, those, you said 2010. Going in, were you just a unicorn amongst, and was there any pushback? How did you navigate that?
In terms of building the car, in terms of costings and all that.
And even just in terms of even a woman stepping into that space.
The best part about rallying is women can come up and step into the space, and the men will actually accommodate. Yes, it's a man-dominated sport, but the men are very accommodative, and they're very willing to teach us. This is what you do, A, B, C, D, and all that. In fact, some men get upset when we beat them. So you can say, you're faster than me. I remember one time in Nakuru, when on the lineup start list, then somebody said, I think I'm faster than you. I said, okay, it's okay. No problem. So what do you want? Okay, so you want to start ahead of me? So of course, does the nitty-gritties. Then he said, okay, he started ahead. But inside, I met him. He had gotten stuck a few kilometers ahead. Okay. Well, of course, we don't want that to happen to anyone. But anyway, the men are very accommodative, and they encourage us on. They really hold our hands, to be honest. So I won't say it was a challenge for us to get into that space.
Right.
Yeah.
Was the cost prohibitive? I think with motorsport, usually cost is usually one of the biggest factors that keeps people out, right?
Yeah, it is. Initially, we started on our own, but as you go, what happens when you're starting? You need to start so that you can create visibility for yourself out to the other companies that would like to come on board. With time, companies have come on board and we've partnered. Because honestly, this event, you need to partner with companies who want visibility for their companies as well. So we tell them it's a win-win. You give me the money, I have my fund, and I will give you visibility in return in however I can give it. And so far this year, KCB have come on board for us. Vivo, Shell have come on board for us. There's Pride Inn who have come on board for us for, towards the accommodation for the event that's coming up. And then there's Imprimata, a company that does below the line marketing. So you're getting haba na haba. Say haba na haba, jaza kibaba. So there's a certain budget you have, but now you approach the different companies to be able to spill in and put in whatever they can.
I'm trying to think if I'm just genuinely interested and I'm like, I really don't have the budget to build a car, to modify a car, to even learn, to who do I speak, you know, what does that look like?
If you're interested in motorsport and you feel like you don't have the budget, there are very other many areas that you can plug in. Not necessarily as a driver. You know, we think safaris, you know, rally is just the drivers and navigators. There's a lot of areas you can plug in. You can plug in as a marshal. You can plug in as a scrutineer. You can plug in as an event director, as a secretary. That way, you get to learn more about the sport, how you can get into it. We've gotten people who have come on board and they've built buggies from there. And they've come up now to be drivers. So you can plug in. There are very many areas you can plug in as you learn the costs and what is and what it needs. You may have your people that we don't know who would like to come and support you in terms of building a car, you know. So you can plug in from somewhere. Like when I'm not driving, when the budget is not there, I go to scrutineering because I still want to remain into the sport.
Okay, in the ecosystem somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. So you get into scrutineering, you get to learn. There's a lot to learn to put in a car together, and safety is key in rally. That's number one, because if your car is not safe, basically you built it on you built the roll cage, you have your safety gear, you have your helmets. That's very important. You have your hands, yeah.
You have your hands.
I like that you're all looking at me like.
It's because we're like, we're learning new terms, a lot of new terms as well. Because I think it's the padding that's usually here is called the hands, right?
It's a hands. It's a gadget that goes onto the helmet. It's clipped onto the helmet and sits on your shoulders, such that when you get into an accident, it holds you firm on the seat like this because of your seatbelts.
Right.
When you get into a roll or something, you cannot move, you can't do anything. So it holds you firm. It actually protects your neck. Yeah.
Jackso, our director is like, okay, I have a Mazda that's been sitting in the parking doing nothing, but I'm genuinely interested in rallying and in driving. Step one, so you said, you know what, get into the ecosystem, start from somewhere. How do I get into the ecosystem? I'm not a scrutineer, I don't come from a family of drivers, I'm just a person who likes to drive.
We're assuming that Jackso's Mazda has an engine. Right?
Of importance, yes.
And tires.
Anasema iko nayo.
So what Jackso can do, which is what we did, we got a Levin. Actually, that Levin was in an accident. It was written off. So it was just seated somewhere. So we got it, built it, was a friend of ours. So it was, you guys need this car, take it. So we built it, took it to the people who do the roll cages, and we built a rally car. So tell Jackso it's okay, can bring his Mazda.
Can bring it.
It's possible.
Yes, it's possible.
It's possible, yes.
In football, we have seen investment in football, right? A company or an individual who has money puts money behind a club, buys the club, owns the club, and then now is basically investing in it, in getting players, in getting the technical staff, in getting all that. In fact, even owning a stadium. Do we have that kind of investment in rallying, where an investor or a group or a company has invested, they've bought the vehicles, then they pay the drivers, so you come, get into my car, and you're rallying?
Basically, it's called arrive and drive. Unfortunately, not yet. We've not gotten...
Nowhere at all in the world?
In the world is there's Toyota, the Toyota, Ford.
Yeah. So those teamworks, that's investment.
Yes, and that's the dealers of the cars and everything. But in Kenya, we are still yet to get there. What is happening right now is we don't have investors, but we're putting teams together to try to attract the youth, especially, and the ladies, and now to get into a team. Like you can form a team, but you come in with your own car.
Okay.
I'll give you examples like our team. It's called 7 to 70 rally team. People come in. We are trying to get children. 7 to 70 means from 7 years old to 70 years old. And we are all in that range somewhere. So we have young kids who are 8, 9, 10. We have them now, like Tina in her teens, not in her teens, in her 20s right now. We have Rajveer, young young upcoming driver. Then we have our team managers who are Eric, Mindo, Charan, who are the old tax now.
They're closer to 70.
yeah. Let them not hear me saying that, but yes, they're closer to 70. And then there's also another team. There's a Betika team which is also trying to do the same thing.
So
but
when
they
come
in
together,
with their own cars.
So I want to join this team. I'll invest in my own equipment and come and join the team. Where is the money going to come from?
We raise.
Because I'm looking for, if there's an investor who puts in money, then that supports everything around that team. Like we see now with the manufacturers, where they have the vehicle, they are working on R&D for the vehicle, improving the vehicle, and also paying the drivers and paying the teams.
Yes, there's a big shout out to the investors out there. We are really looking. If there's an investor who can come and do that, would be smiling all the way.
What would be the ROI? I mean, why should I invest my 2 billion shillings? I have 4. I'm a former governor of Mombasa.
Why should 2 billion
I put
go
my
to
2B
motorsport?
into motorsport? Would I get a return?
Yes, you'll get from visibility from us. We call ourselves moving billboards. In Nigeria, we go to like 8 or 10 different counties. So what I'm doing for your company, I'm creating visibility. Instead of you going to marketing, to market that billboard, which is like on Bagathiwe, for example, and it's just there. It's only the people who are on Bagathiwe who will see it. But I'm a moving billboard. When I'm transporting my car on the carrier, you get your money from, you get your visibility from that. Okay. When I go to media, big paper, social media, basically I'll just shout and make a lot of noise.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense, sponsorship. Investing. Like in a football club, this Russian guy has put in money into this thing. It'll attract investors, kit sponsor, you'll get, airline sponsor and all. But the guy has put in money. He's trading on those humans who are playing on the field and all. And the share value of this company as a corporate entity.
Right.
Is there such a case that has been made by anybody in Kenya where you can say, come in as investors? Even if you just list then your team, 7 to 70 at the NSE, and we buy shares.
Let's just say that's what we're trying to do. Nobody has come in yet.
Okay.
But we're trying. That's at the end of the day that we would love to see that happen. But a journey starts with a step. And we'll get there. We'll get there.
All right. We have to take a short break, but we want to talk about how to get a new crop and an even bigger crop of female drivers on the road, and especially in rally and motorsport across. But just as we go into the break, if I'm car shopping and I see lady driven, is that a good or a bad thing? Lady owned. Lady owned, lady driven.
Well, it's a good thing because, first of all, the car has not been driven and beat up too much. No offense.
No offense. Not taken.
Eric.
Lady owned. That's the con that goes around. Buy this car.
Allah.
Lady owned.
They take care of it like they're taking care of their children, man.
Imegongeshwa kwa parking. Let's take a break. 27 minutes to 10. We'll be back shortly.
We're getting back into our convo with Caroline, of course, and she is a rally driver, speaking to us about what it looks like to be a woman in motorsport in Kenya. And the beauty of it is we always talk about spaces that are exclusionary. Janet loves that word. Not loves, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I use it.
But it's really good that she said, you know what, it's an accommodating space for women. And we're trying to get more women, of course, get into the sport. And we'd seen such big numbers pre-COVID, alafu, slight dips, but now we're getting back to it. But someone wants to know what it's like to drive or navigate with your daughter. What was it like actually when she was in the navigator seat and then when she kicked you out?
It's awesome. It's awesome, especially when you have. I've seen it like a time of bonding. First of all, before we're in the car, before we go to the car, time for bonding and just getting to as I grow older.
Is that the two of you? Hold on.
Oh yeah. That's us.
Nice.
Oh, this was the best moment. We were very proud when we got here.
When you finished.
Yes.
This is last year's?
This is last year.
When you finished 7th.
Yes.
Oh, this is
that's
wonderful.
Nice.
This was the best moment. The best moment is when you bring that car to the finish. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And you see she's calling her dad.
Yeah.
Manager.
There he is. Yeah.
Oh.
What a moment.
That is a wonderful family moment. Like, that's a memory you can't put a price on.
Oh, yeah. So even before this, what happens, you have a little break to do the last stage. This is Hell's Gate. It was 15 kilometers. I remember when we started, we were like, we prayed, let's finish this, Lord, let's finish this. We got in. It got somewhere like we're 10 kilometers in, and she was driving so fast. I was like, hey, I need to keep up with her. I need to keep up. And all that, the rest of the days I was with her, I was keeping up with her. At the last corner, it was a slow left into flying finish.
Okay.
We cut and hit a bank.
Ooh.
But I remember I was going up like this. I told her, just go. Just finish. Even if you have a puncture, we'll figure it out at the end. So, because we needed to get to the finish. Right. But when we got off, looking at the car, I'm like, oh, still looks okay.
Happened.
Nothing.
That was her proudest moment, our proudest moments. So, yeah.
That's beautiful.
I know. Are you encouraged about the trajectory for more women participating in motorsport? Does it look like, we've asked pertinent questions about the cost. You've talked about how it's quite like a safe space in the sense of men supporting. Are you encouraged by that trajectory, or how can you encourage more women to participate?
I'm happy. I'm happy with the numbers that have come on board, that are coming up now. We had an autocross event the last weekend, and the ladies who are participating, they're increasing. So yes, I would encourage them to come on board. But again, you see, because it's expensive, you need to come in with your own car, with your own everything, all the stuff that's involved in rallying. But if we can see the ladies who have parked their cars come back on board,
right,
it would be very encouraging. Tash Tundo, Tash, shout out, please come out. Who else is there? Pauline at least is taking part in the event in the WRC. And I'm trying to think of another driver.
This year, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't feel that like support that came through with the WRC the first year or two. I don't know if it's the same for you, and as well from a policy perspective, what more could be done to get just the sport going? And I won't even, women of course will be part of it, one way or the other, but just to get the sport moving.
If the organizers organizing the event came out and supported the competitors, they would be in a safe space, because the competitors are the ones who carry the day. Because without the competitors, we cannot do anything. And there's a team that has come up, the 254 Motorsport. They've come out in a big way. It's a club. They've really supported the motorsport, and they've gotten people to come, sponsors to come on board. So what happens is they subsidize the entry for the drivers, even the fuel. So more people are coming out. More people are getting to come out. But if we get organized clubs and everything, would be A-okay. Because we would go back then to the days I was telling you.
The glory days.
The glory days, yeah.
Okay, would that be, I don't know, would government be able to do something like that? Or what kind of support would you need from government?
It's just supporting the clubs, the registration of the clubs. Just register the clubs, register the federations, register everything, and the clubs will be able to run it. I guess that's all we need from the government. Then, of course, if they came up with the money and pumped it in, would be more than happy.
Yeah.
But supporting the clubs, that would go a long way.
Let's look at the governing structure of motorsport, right? So there is the ministry, then there's a federation, the Kenya Motorsport Federation. Not just talking about the rally itself.
Yeah.
Motorsport as a sport in this country. Just like football, we have FKF, swimming, we have the Swimming Federation.
Yes.
In motorsport, there's a Motorsport Federation.
So in motorsport, there's a federation.
Right.
Then below it is the clubs.
Right.
Then come the competitors.
Okay.
Then the government comes up just because of WRC, the World Rally Championship. Because they brought it back. They helped us bring it back a couple of years ago, and they're still with us. So the federation, this federation that runs the clubs, if we would have, for lack of a better word, well organized and some sanity into the federation, the clubs would come out with their people. Because we have clubs in Mombasa, we have Eldoret, we have Kisumu, we have Nairobi, we have Nakuru, a couple in Nairobi, then there's Nakuru. And different people and different competitors belong to these clubs. So if the clubs are stable also, the competitors would come out in a big way. So what is happening, the 254 Motorsports Club, what it's done is we've gotten a couple of competitors to join, to go into the club, and that's how we're racing. There are others coming up, no mentioning names right now, but once they come on board, then we create competition, a strong competition, then the federation, of course, now will be strong.
In the other sports, we see serious politics in the federations. In football, there's politics. In cricket, there's politics. In swimming, there's politics. In tennis, actually not so much politics, but in KMSF, are the clubs active in electing their leadership of the federation, in oversighting the leadership of the federation? Is the federation responsive to the needs of the clubs and the drivers?
Let me say right now, as you say, there's politics everywhere. And it's crazy that it's also in the motorsport. It wasn't there, but now that it's there. The clubs, let me just be honest, the clubs are not holding the elections that they should. So when the clubs don't do that, of course now the federation
as well
can't do anything. So that's politics that I wouldn't like to get into.
Yeah. But at the same time, the Ministry of Sports has a role of just ensuring that federations actually run according to the constitution of that federation.
Yes.
Right? So does the Ministry of Sport get itself involved in making sure that this federation is working well? Or has the ministry just completely abandoned Kenya Motorsport Federation and dealt with the WRC Safari Rally as an entity? Because Safari Rally is just an entity that organizes the WRC event.
Yes.
Is the ministry only focusing on the WRC event?
No. Actually, the ministry has asked the federation to get its house in order.
Very good.
That has been, and it's since last year. So we're seeing a few changes. We're going to see good changes. Yes, of course, the ministry is involved because we run under the Ministry of Sports. So when they've told us, get your house in order, we must.
The reason I'm asking is because we're asking ourselves, so how do we get more money and more participation into motorsport? Because if a federation was working well, then the federation would also then be pushed to come up with a nurturing program where you're going across the country and you're identifying people with interest and talent, and how do you nurture them? If we're talking about gender and increasing the participation of women and supporting them, how do you do that? How do you attract investment that comes specifically into these niche areas? How do you package yourself? We had a conversation 2 weeks ago about fixing sport, and we're asking, so how should we get more money coming into sports? And one of the chairman or CEO of WRC Safari Rally, Charles Gashero said, package yourself nicely, you'll attract money.
Yes, and that is what is happening. 254 is packaging itself very well as a club. Packaging itself very well. It's even attracted Shell to come on board. Now, once that attraction is there, in fact, the numbers that we had in November, the last event, autocross event we had, this time around we were like at 40, 45, we were even cutting numbers. So if we package as a club, package yourself very well. You see, I feel let's start from the grassroots, the club, as we are fixing the top, because that's where we're going now. Now the people who are in charge of the 254 motorsport are also trying to getting to see how we can fix the federation. So that's how we attract. At least we've attracted Shell to come on board. We're attracting to see whether KBC KCB can come on board, and other people to come on board at the same time.
From an expansion perspective, when you think about just the motorsport ecosystem, what's the future? What's the good future? What are the opportunities for making money, expansion, attracting money, all of that, and for keeping motorsport very much alive? Should, for example, the WRC not be around? You
see, WRC happens once a year. So what happens when they go? We're left with our local events. Our local events in this case are autocross and RX, the RX events, and the national events that we're planning that are on calendar to take part within the year. But how we keep it going is, first of all, the youngsters. There are very many young children who have come on board to race, so that at least we have the numbers. The ones who had kept their cars in the garage have also come out. So we are growing. At least that part, we've capped that one.
And Jackson will be joining soon.
Yes. So with that, we are hoping to attract more investors to come on board and sponsors to come on board and help us run this event that we love to do, and so that we have our day out there, have fun, have everything, and they also come out, have fun with us, and they also get their return on marketing, on whatever it is.
Yeah. What's the SI unit of a global moment or win? We hear about, now I've gone to Formula One in my head. I've defaulted to, Lewis Hamilton, global rally driver. I think there was people like Danica Hamilton. I don't know if the name comes correctly, who was a female rally driver. I think she was the first one to win. I might be confusing things here. The first Indy series?
Michelle Mouton. You're talking about Michelle?
Okay. I think Danica was
Chelemoto was here in our rally. She used to do very well.
Very well.
Okay. Yeah. But what does it look like beyond Kenya? If you're looking at, I'm doing this as a career, I'm competing and doing well in Kenya, but I want to. If I do this particular event, then I've really broken through.
Yeah,
what are some of those?
A big one.
Yeah. Let me talk about Tina, because that's her dream to get to now. Either put it career as she goes. Right now she's in IT, but as she goes on, she might change her mind. These children change their minds all the time. But of course, that's what we're encouraging for her to do. We have the ladies, the junior rally team. In fact, even the other day, they had three ladies taking part in Sweden, where one lady won, and she's gotten now to run the whole year with the team. That's our dream. We have, we call it the FIA website or the site, where we go. She enrolled. In fact, when Tina tried last year, she enrolled. Unfortunately, they didn't pick her, but she has a couple of years to go where she can plug in again. Her dream is to, and my dream as well, is to see her drive what we call the R3, which is like the starting into terms of getting to the bigger class. Locally, she can do the national events. Then she can do the Africa Rally Championship events, then move on. And that you're creating also visibility for the people out there, for the companies out there to come and to see, to basically scout. If they scout and they see her, good for us, even us, we'll try and see what we can do and plug her there. Then she can get into a team like Toyota, for example. She'll get into their R3 group. From there, she races, performs very well, goes on to R2, and goes on to R1, where Kina Rovanpera are. That's our dream, to see her there. So you can actually plug it in as a career out as you keep going. For me, for us, where we are now is just support.
Okay, so you've reached. Orierogo was the first female rally driver from Kenya. Is that correct?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Did that have any imprint in you? Was that part of your kind of, at the back of her mind, you knew that she'd done it? Because that's what happened, pioneers, that she did it. For you, I know we started the conversation asking about your journey, but what was that moment that made you say, I can do this, I've seen so-and-so do this? Yeah,
when we looked at her racing and doing everything, and you see her coming to the end, and you're like, I can do that, I think I can do that. Not I think, I know I can do that. So yeah, those are some of the people we look at and see if they can do it, why not? We can. And how we've gone on, if you're able to do something, give it a try. You tried. And here we are, we tried.
I want to know the first perhaps feeling, or that time you fell in love with driving. I'm suspecting it was probably when you were younger, because on Sunday I was just going about my business, and I came across 3 kids that had clearly stolen their parents' car. And the boy who was driving his siblings alikuwa amekwama kidogo, because there was cars parked on the road, so now he's struggling with turning a little bit, so there's a bit of panic, and I couldn't stop, but I'm hoping they were close to home. But I think there's a curiosity. I'm not encouraging, but I think there's a curiosity that some people have. What was your journey like with things like that? Don't worry, you can tell us about stealing the parents' car as well.
When the seed was planted, basically. When was the seed?
Did I steal my parents' cars? I'm not too sure. All I know, I knocked it on a wall again.
Okay.
When we were younger, but I was forgiven and it was fixed. We started this when we were young, when our mom used to take us to KICC for flag off. And then we go to KICC. Our home is in Limuru. So when we used to go to Limuru, I remember one day telling my dad, can we overtake that car? Overtake that car. And I guess that's where my love for cars started. And I've gone on to, I'm actually a mechanic by profession. So I've loved cars forever. Now, getting into the racing space, I think it just came along as we go. And luckily, I got a husband who
And then you
also
met
likes
the right
rally.
guy.
Then
I was gonna
the right
say.
guy, you know? Yes, who likes this. So now that's
Yeah.
how we, have transitioned on to rally and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and doesn't just like it, but sees it as a chance for you to do something collaboratively,
Yes,
and even sees it as a chance to encourage you to do it. Because again, when you speak to issues around barriers or perception, that's one of them. Is family saying, "What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to do?" I don't know if a lot of people have come to you with that story of, "I really want to do this, but I don't have the support."
There are many. There are many, especially ladies also. They've come and asked, how can I join this? As at last week, I was speaking to one or two. And I told them, first of all, come and see what it's all about. You need to show your interest first. Then we see how we can grow you. Let me tell you the days I miss of rally. Remember the Nation? We used to have a page
huge spread.
second last or last page or middle page or something.
Yes.
With everyone that's taking part in their safari.
Yep.
And then I used to
It
go
used to be a pull out, you keep
Shekameta
it.
is still going
Yeah.
on. Vic Preston is still going on. Oh, this one has
Bjorn
retired.
Valdegaard is out.
Has retired. It used to be awesome. And every day they used to give us like a lineup. Okay, fine. I remember I used to take those things, and I think that's where the love of motorsport came from.
Right.
And speed.
Even that going to KCC, seeing the launch, those things really create an interest in you.
Yes.
For young
Even
people.
For the children, it's lovely.
How do we get, what would be your ideal entry point? Because start them young, right? Ideal entry point for a 3-year-old, 4-year-old who's, you can see they have an interest in watersport.
We have a grandson who's 2 years now, and we're hoping by the time he gets to 4, he'll want to do karting.
Wow.
But we can start from the young kids can start from karting. There are those little, I'm sure you all know,
go-karts,
the go-karting and all. You can start from as young as 4 years old, so long as you can touch your pedals. But on the pedals, they even have extensions. So if your kid is interested at 4, why not? 5, then they grow into it. The youngest, as we said, 7 to 70, they started as young as 7 and have gone on to...
It's sustaining it. I remember my older son, I think 3 years ago, we could see there was a passion consistency. Then you have those guys say, hey, he has potential. I just started doing the math. I'm like, I love that he has potential. What would it look like? And he broke it down to me. Yep, he'd have to come for training. There's a time when we were there just hanging out, we saw young kids training and taking it really seriously. So it goes back to that thing for accessibility, for finances, but you also feel bad that maybe you could have denied a dream early.
Right? I'm just going to ask it flat out. Is rally a rich man's sport? Man being cross-cutting.
Across the board.
Yes.
Good one.
There is your answer. There is your
She was
answer.
like to bring some context,
please. Just say yes, but.
Yes.
However.
Yes, but if you have the passion and approach somebody who would like to, again, I go back to sponsorship, who would like to run with you this journey, you can do it.
Is there money in this thing, Caroline, as we end up? Cristiano Ronaldo has made money from playing football. Can your daughter make money from this rallying thing?
If she goes out to the world.
Okay, how does she get there? Our kids now, our director, by the way, our producer, Mangeshi, is a football mom. Her son loves football. He's participating in those. And I'm sure his dream is to go get enlisted into a big club so that he can play and he'll make money and he'll just, Wangeshi will just be this lady who just travels the world. Your daughter, how can she get to the money?
I said from the junior, you start from the junior racing team, which the FIA have programs on that. We want to plug in with our current CEO, the WRC CEO, and see how we can plug in their youngsters. And those people also to come out here and see. I remember speaking to an Irish, he owned a school in Ireland. And I just Googled him last year. I just Googled him and found the school. I emailed. I asked him, so can we come on board, everything? But unfortunately, it was only for the citizens of Ireland. So I said, when I met him, where we were staying last year and I met him, I was like, oh, okay. So we've had a conversation and he's plugged me into Spain. So it's a journey. It's something that you have to look for. The same thing as I guess they do in football.
Yep.
You get people, and the ones I know who have come scouting is Spain, the ones I can think of, because I have parents.
So even rallying has scouts, just like football has scouts.
Yes.
Then they'll come in like to the WRC event and they'll just be looking, or they'll come to a GP karting and see.
Yeah.
And pick you from there.
And just pick it from there. It's just that now we have to push it, really push it out there for our kids to let them come more often as they can, and pick up these children and see where we can take them. We have to start from somewhere.
Okay.
You never know who's watching.
You never know.
Yeah. Keep doing what you're doing. Caroline, thank you very much for joining us today. And we wish you all the best. This time, win it.
Right?
Asante sana.
Yeah.
Yes.
Win it. And
First
Finish and thank you, Janet. First
First
finish.
finish. It's pressure for
finishing
Finish first.
Amamaliza's 10th.
Seventh.
one.
Win.
Sawa.
Caroline Gatimu is a rally driver. She's been our guest this morning, and we've been talking about the women who are steering motorsport in this country, racing forward. Janet, what are we having coming up in your world?
Facial
I'm saying
and
it out loud
body.
as Jackson,
And
our
body
producer,
welding.
is saying. Up next on Your World with Winnie Lubembe. What did you say it is, Jaxofacial? The science behind facial and body scrub for general wellness. By the way, facial and body scrub is, and you can do them at home, and it doesn't always have to sound like this exotic, inaccessible thing. It's very important, I think, to do a body or facial scrub once every so often. So that is what will be discussed
Are you the guest?
on your.
You already
I'm
started.
segued.
Maybe she's running over to Winnie's
I've really
studio.
gone over to. I'll be like, thanks, Mariam and Eric. Winnie, what are we talking about today? But that's what's going to be coming up on Your World. A very interesting topic.
Thank you very much for watching us today. This is Fixing the Nation, one conversation at a time. Those who've been listening to us on Nation FM since 6 a.m. Asante. Tomorrow we'll be back on Nation FM, on NTV, and on all the digital platforms. Fixing the Nation, a conversation at a time. Eric Latif, Mariam Bishar, and Janet Bogo, who will not be here tomorrow.
I will not be here. I'll be in Texas
Say
somewhere, God
Texas.
willing. Yes. I feel like every beginning of the show this
Let me tell you, Janet, you walk from Nairobi, go whichever direction to a town, you will find a Texas bar.
Okay.
You will find a bar called Texas Bar or Texas Butchery. Is that where you're going?
Actually, I'm
going
just
to
saying.
Texas. You might in Limuru here.
Where?
Jaxwati, she brings us something.
I think I just have the Stetson and everything. But I'll be hopefully sending messages from Texas, USA. This is our
On the ranch.
on the ranch. And I'll be checking in with you guys from the South by Southwest for the next couple of days.
All right.
Asante.
Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
best.
Thank
And
you
safe
so
skies
much.
as you travel.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, safe journey.
Tupatane kesho. Bye.
Bye.